Hi everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we're live on a Friday, so lunchtime, which means we normally would be talking about coping with feelings. And the feeling I want to talk about today is something I discussed last week: the feeling of creativity and the feeling of how to get excited about just creating and why it's so good for you. And I'm going to do a demonstration today. Keep your fingers crossed because it's going to be live, on how to etch something. And the reason I wanted to do this, I've been promising to do it for a long time, but the reason that I wanted to do it is because it's coming up to the season of weddings and, those sort of things where you need a gift. And, if you're tight on budget, what I found is that making a personalized gift takes a regular item and makes it a very special one. And especially because if you are creating an item and it's personalized, even if they get 5 of the same thing, if yours is personalized, you know which one they're going to keep. And so that's why I wanted to show you how to do that. But first, I need to grab my coffee. I already did. I didn't think I'd done that. Duh. The rest of the broadcast is going to be just fine. So those of you who don't know, Dear Mama Sal is not just me. It's a group of people who get together. And I'd like to thank those of you who do come regularly and support me as we're doing this. I know a lot of people watch it later, but it's just a case. It is such fun having you here while I play with things. A big hi to Jody for being here. Jody is our admin, in case you don't know, and not only supports me during the broadcast, but also during the week as well. And remember to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And the reason for that is, if I need to cancel a broadcast, or if I need to change something, or need to let you know some updates about a viewer, that's where I would do it. And so I really recommend that you do that. And if you're here on YouTube and you like what you see, remember to give it a thumbs up here, and so other people know it's worth watching. All right, so all of you that are here, a very warm welcome to you. I'm going to have some quotes today about creativity, and I like this quote. It says, creativity is thinking up new things, whereas innovation is doing new things. So for those of you, how many of you ever thought, I'd love to be able to etch something and make it personalized? And if you've ever thought about that, this would be, I guess my question is, what stopped you? All right. And the reason I ask that is because I think a lot of us don't do the things that we want to do because we're a little fearful of it. That sounds like it's dangerous, for example. I don't know what stopped you, but I know that the danger aspect of it stopped me until I actually did it and went, duh. Just before we get on with the broadcast, for those of you who don't know, baby Isabella, Benji and Judy's 5th daughter, was born a week ago. I did know, but I obviously couldn't tell anybody until till they had publicly told everybody. And she's just as cute as a button. And it's just so amazing when you think about it. What are the chances of them having 5 girls in a row? I mean, really. But she is adorable. And I always say about Judy, she drops the most beautiful looking babies I've ever seen. And I know I'm biased. Yes, Sharon's saying her cheeks. If anybody here hasn't seen her, then, definitely go and have a look. So happy birthday, happy 1 week to Isabella. And isn't it a pretty name? I just love the name. And to me, it was just like, she is just so adorable. I also obviously wanted to say congratulations to Queen Elizabeth, who really did a magnificent job showing up yesterday for the start of the Jubilee, but today is suffering for that. And she looked stunning. I thought for a 96-year-old, she looked I don't know. She looked in her 70s. She did an absolutely amazing job to get dressed up and look that good, even if it was for the one day. And I don't know about you, but I would like to look as good as she did. Um, when I'm 96. Let me say, should I ever reach 96, that is. Just a waiver and warning. What I'm about to show you is something that I do. Whether you choose to do it or not is up to you, but be careful. When you're doing stuff that's etching, I'm going to talk about that in a second. Think about it. Interesting. Jeannie is saying, tell Judy and Benji that because of her name, she can visit the Isabel Stewart Gardner Museum of Art in Boston for free. Well, that's pretty good to know that, I'm sure. So who are we? Dear Mama Sal is this group of people. We get together once a week and we learn, actually 3 times a week, to learn stuff. On Friday lunchtimes, we talk about our feelings. And how many of you are excited about the idea of watching me try and etch something and possibly fail? Because that's part of the joy of it for me. And then Friday evenings, we cook something and possibly fail. And by the way, one of the things I'm cooking tonight is rhubarb raspberry tart. It's one of those small tarts. And I'm going to show you how simple that is if you choose to do it. And then I just want to make sure we have thoughts and prayers for Beth and Jody. They're both struggling with a lot of things at the moment, but it never stops Jody, I notice. And I didn't get any birthday updates for this week. I don't think we've got any birthdays this week. I do know that we've got Jody's anniversary of being cancer-free coming up. So just know that if you've got a birthday this week and I didn't know about it, please let me know so I can add it to our database. Innovation is creativity with a job to do. So what we're going to do today is to, in a way, be creative with a job to do. So the first thing we need to do is make sure you protect your workspace. What do you think etching cream is made of? Let's see. I didn't hear any. Have any of you ever thought about doing it? Now, as you can see, you probably can't see, but this is a well-used bit of cardboard coming from the obvious place. But I keep it like this so that whenever I want to work like this, as you can see, this is stuff I've been Gorilla Gluing here. But I can know that I'm protecting surfaces. So I just keep this board like this. Do you have one? Interesting. Hi, Kimmy. Kimmy's saying she got vaccinated on Wednesday. It's your number 4, I think, right? And have been sick since Wednesday. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, thoughts and prayers for you as well, Kimmy. Jody's saying it must be an acid base. Actually, this is our learning moment, right? One of the things we said about doing these broadcasts, if we keep on learning, we'll keep on growing, and that'll keep us younger, and it'll keep us our minds going, really, and excited. It's not an acid base. If you buy the Crafters, hang on, let's get it out. I'm not getting paid by anybody, so just know I actually have this bottle of Crafters etching cream. And this one happens to be by Martha Stewart. And when you look at the price of it, it's expensive. But you need to know I've probably had this 10 years. And I've still got nearly all of it left. So just so that you know, a little goes a long way. And once you've used it, you can put it back in the bottle. How many of you like that idea? However, it's not acid, Jody. I also thought it was acid. But what I'm hearing, what I did some research on today, let me just see where I got this. Glass etching cream, as used by hobbyists, is generally easier to use than acid. And that's why I use this one. Available from art supply stores, or where I get mine. right? It consists of fluoride compounds. I didn't know that. So it's hydrogen fluoride and sodium fluoride. So that's what's in there. However, if it's strong enough to etch glass, we also want to make sure we're wearing gloves. Yeah, I thought it was interesting as well. So that's our etching cream. We need that. Let me see what else I've got. Okay, so I've got some gloves, which is always a challenge for me because I've got long nails, or sometimes. So we need some gloves. Now, if you haven't got these sort of gloves or anything, if you've got gardening gloves, just wear something to protect your hands from the stuff. I've just got a bit of talcum powder in case I need it. What else do we need? Oh, something that we're going to etch. I've got a number of options. I've got a little shot glass, which you can actually use as a votive thing. So I wanted to show you how easy that is. And if you wanted to personalize it, you can buy stencils, at Walmart or wherever. Luckily, I can do mine with my machine, but you could actually personalize it with the person's initials, make a monogram for them or whatever. I'm just going to show you basically how it works. And then you can get creative any way you want to, all right? You could actually literally take masking tape and cut out stuff if you wanted to, pattern, which is another way of doing it. So just think about that. So we need something that we can etch. What else have we got? I've got all sorts of options. How many of you go to barbecues or maybe a potluck or something over the summer, and you're going to take maybe your favorite Pyrex? What I'm going to show you is how to make sure you know this one is yours. Yes, Jody's saying, I'd love to do a snowflake pattern on a mug or a casserole. Exactly, that's what I wanted to show you. So anyway, so how do you understand that now this is a very well-used casserole dish. I've probably had it 20 years, at least. And so, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to just etch it somewhere so that I know this one is mine. Do you think that's a good idea? And I've also got some rubbing alcohol just so we can clean where we're going to etch so it hasn't got any grease marks on it or anything. And then if all goes well, I've also got some masking tape because I wanted to show you how easy it is just to, make your own little pattern if you wanted to. And now I've never done this because, I'm always trying to find new things to do. Obviously, you need something to apply the etching cream with. So I've got a little, dollar store type craft sponge. That's good. But in the bag, I also found these little rounds. So Jody, what I'm going to do for you so you can see is actually do some little patterns on here so you can see how easy that is. And I'll do it, with different sizes so we can see how that works. Exciting? I hope so. Just for me. Now, I've never done it, but I also wondered, this is all from I've got a kid's craft thing because the big kid in me loves to play. And I thought, I wonder if that would work. So what I think I'm going to do is try it. I've never done a sponge stencil before, but that's my experiment. Of course, I also found this one. How many of you going, yeah, you'd know that was yours, so. Or even just twinkle, twinkle. Now, as I said, I've never done it like that way, so I'm going to do the simple way first, and then we'll play a bit, okay? And one of the things that I was talking about in a broadcast is, if you think about it, Pyrex is about the most useful thing you can give anybody for a wedding present, because you all know that a glass Pyrex dish lasts for nearly ever. Not ever, but nearly forever. And it doesn't go out of style. You know, it's like if the color scheme in your kitchen changes, this still is the right color. You know what I mean? It just works beautifully. So we'll do some experiments. Huh. Now we're going to need... Oh, interesting. Kimmy's saying, I want to do this on a window in my front door. That's why I want to show you what to do with masking tape. Okay? Anybody getting excited yet? Now we need something. Put your gloves on, Sal. Okay, fine. This is the most challenging bit for me. Oh, that went on beautifully. Okay. Now we need something to pour the etching fluid, the etching cream into. Do I need to tell you, do not use glass? Why not? Because it will etch it. Okay? Actually, they went on beautifully, so no problem. So what we need, what I'm going to do is get a bit of plastic, but we need a flat bit of plastic. Hold on. Now, the reason we need a flat bit of plastic is because I want to be able to do the experiment and get this on. Okay. I hope that's... It says it does not etch plastic, so that's good. So it won't burn through there. All right, now what I'm going to do is just show you the simple thing on the shot glass. What did I do with it, people? Oh, yeah, that's right. First. So this is made with one of those lids that kids can't take off, and nor can you if you happen to suffer from arthritis. I didn't think about that. Hold on a second, people. There we go. All right, now then, mine has changed color. When you first get it, it's white. And one of the things it tells you, it'll change color over time. Well, I've had mine for a long time, so that's why. So let's go. I'm just going to dab the dabber. What I want to do is to get a good layer of etching cream on there, but also fairly smooth. All right. So just going to pull off the residue off the sides. Can you see that I've taken the residue off the side, so I've just got it there? This may not work, people. I've never done this before. Okay, so let's do 1, 2. Don't like that. Never mind. So it's just a test, right? Okay, so I think I got room for one more. And then I'm going to take the little one and just do some more. Now, obviously, if you've got a stencil, you know, a snowflake pattern or something for Christmas, I hope this is going to work. I've never done it with a sponge before. But the only way we'll find out is to try it. I nearly dropped the thing. Now, as you can see, this is hardly rocket science. Okay, Alexa, 15-minute warning.
I don't know that.
Alexa, 15-minute alarm.
15 minutes, starting now.
Okay, we'll let Alexa tell us so we don't have to overwork Jody. So can you see that I've just got dabs of it on here? And we're going to leave it on for 15 minutes, and then we're going to just wash it off. So while we're waiting for those 15 minutes, I thought I would show you how to do, to make sure you know this is yours. And what I would suggest, if you're doing anything with a stencil, by the way, mask off anything you don't want to have etched in case you mess around a bit. So what I'm going to do is just make, I'll show you when I've got it done. This is what I call an identification. And I'm just making this up. All right, now what I've done, can you see that? I've masked it all off like that, and now I'm going to etch just that piece there. Why? If there are 4 of these at the next barbecue or the next potluck, will I know which one is mine? Yes, it'll be the only one that has this little stripe on it. Now, you could make multiple stripes all the way down if you were feeling, so inclined. So now I'm just going to put on a good layer of this etching cream. Okay, can you see how thickly I've put that on? All right. Now, think about it. If you've decided to personalize it, remember which way do you want them to see it? In other words, do they, if you put their names on it or whatever, remember to put the stencil on the back in such a way that they can read it. All right, when it's clear, empty. Does that make sense? So make sure that you put it on there first and look at it and say, okay, that reads correctly when it's empty. Now, I did one for a wedding present, and I actually did it with my die cutting machine, and I wrote cooked with love, and then I had hearts either side of it. I didn't put the date of the wedding or their names on it because sometimes marriages don't last. And I wanted it to be something that they could use forever. And then, but I did write a note to say this has been personally etched, just so they knew that it had been. Alexa, 15-minute alarm.
Second timer, 15 minutes, starting now. Do you want to name this timer? Do you want to name this timer?
Yes, casserole dish.
Okay, I'll call it a casserole dish timer. 15 minutes, starting now.
How did we live without this? Now, you know I want to try this one, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up the sponge with lots of stuff. I think that will probably be a better way of doing it. That's why we do experiments, people. Oh, let's see. I'm glad I did that. Hope it works. Oops. Okay, so what I've done, nearly done, is to load up the sponge with this, okay? Fingers crossed. And now when oh, I forgot to clean first. Not the end of the world. It'll probably work anyway. If it's strong enough to etch glass, it's going to probably be strong enough to go through. But let's do it the right way. So here I've got some rubbing alcohol. So I'm just going to clean that part. And then give it a couple of seconds to evaporate. Alexa, 15-minute alarm.
Third timer, 15 minutes, starting now. Do you want to name this timer?
Bread.
Okay, I'll call it a bread timer. 15 minutes, starting now.
Now, don't want glass. And I want to drop this into something. What have I got? Ah. So I'm just going to drop these into water. All right, any questions? Is there, oh, good question. All right. Is there any odor to the etching cream? No. Kimmy's saying, write your name. I could write my initials, I guess, except I've just thrown the brushes away. But I would prefer to do that with my machine. And I decided not to do that because not everybody has a machine like mine. But that's what I would do. But you see, the thing is this, even with something as simple as this on it, I know there's not going to be another one like it. All right. Is there an odor? No. No odor at all. So that's why you don't see me wearing a mask or anything. Kimmy's saying sometime Alexa doesn't know something sometimes. No, what she was asking, and I've never had that before, because I've got more than one alarm being set, she asked, did I want to give it a name? And it took me a while to realize that that's what she was asking me. So I've got 3 different alarms set on my Alexa. All right. And the first one will be the shot glass. The second one will be this casserole dish. And the third one will be the bread dish. Exciting? I think so. All right, now here's a quote I want you all to remember. All right. There is no innovation and no creativity without failure. Period. I love that quote because what we're doing here, oh, I'm hoping I haven't got any on my gloves because I'm busy with my with my laptop. If you think about it, if you've got anything that you want to say, okay, I want to identify this as mine, could you do this? Could you etch your name? Absolutely. And if you can get a stencil, even better, because you can reuse stencils. So what I want to do is to encourage you to understand. Now, Kimmy's saying she'd like to do it with on a window or a glass door or something like that. You can do it. The question is, be careful, because you'd have to mask the whole thing, because when you go to wipe off the window or whatever, you don't want the etching cream to drop onto part of it lower down. Does that make sense? Hang on. Because the way that they recommend you take it off, right? And if this is a window or something, Kimmy, and you've decided to put some flowers on it, think about how are you going to get that etching cream off without the etching cream dropping somewhere. That would mean you basically would have to mask the whole window to make sure that when you took it off, none of it dropped down onto the window. Does that make sense to people? But can you do it? Yeah. I want to tell you, I worked in an office where we all had windows to our offices, but the windows were 99% etched. So that you could, if you really concentrated, you could see that there was somebody in there. But you couldn't see properly because everything except about this much all the way around was etched. And you've probably seen it where people have done stripes of etching on a window. So I would say it's doable, but be careful and be prepared to fail. And that's the question. If it failed, would it ruin your window? So I do here's what I would do. If you've got an old picture frame that's got glass in it, I'd probably take the glass out of the picture frame and do some test runs of it vertically and try cleaning it off and see if you can do it cleanly. If you know that you can do that, shall we try? Maybe. I'll think about it. Einstein said, creativity is seeing what others see and thinking what nobody else has ever thought of. Story of my life, right? All right, so here we go. I think we must be nearly ready for the shot glass. I want to tell you, can you imagine that I had done a whole lot of things on the bottom of that big casserole and, just layered it with lots of this stuff? It's not difficult. Do you agree? One-time purchase of the etching cream that will last you a lifetime. When I say a lifetime, but literally, I must have had this about 10 years. Don't think it has an expiry date. We're about to find that out, right? But that's the one-time purchase, and you've got it for everything that you might want to do. Whether it's, as I said, little candle holders for Christmas. What a nice idea, to be able to do that with a monogram for somebody. And what can you make? What can you make the monogram out of? You could make it out of masking tape. All right, or you could buy the stencils and then mask that on. Just be careful. That's the whole thing. This is not something I would have young children doing, but certainly teenagers, no problem at all. How about this quote? Creativity is intelligence because it's having fun. How many of you go, but there is a slight element of fear in this? I did have to think, if I ruin this, is that okay? All right. So while you're experimenting, I want to tell you the first one I did was a casserole dish, and I didn't even do a test run. I just did it. No, I lie. I did do one on a glass. Alexa, stop. Now then, I'm going to take the shot glass and I'm going to run it under water until the etching cream has gone. I can't do that here. I've got to go over there. Now this I did with a sponge, and I want to show you what happened, just so you can see. I wouldn't do it with a sponge again, like this. All right, but I do want you to see that it did etch it. Can you see that? So I definitely wouldn't do it with a dabber again. Now, obviously, what I might do now is just make a plan around this. Yes, it was 15 minutes from the first one. I've got 3 different alarms that I set. Thanks, Kimmy. All right, so there is I hope you can see that. And you know, if you wanted to personalize this, you could either put a stencil here or on the bottom. But what I would remind you is make sure you understand you need the stencil to read correctly while you look at it, right? So sometimes you have to invert the stencil for that to happen. All right, pretty easy. Good, thanks, Jody. All right, now then this one, I think will be easier to see because I was able to load up the amount of etching cream on it, but we'll see. Now, for those of you who've been waiting for it, after we finish doing this, I'm going to try and take the air out of a plastic bag, big one, that I've got my duvet in. I promised you I would try that with my high velocity dust buster. Alexa, stop. Going to rinse it off. Now again, remember, I just wanted to do this so I could identify that it was mine. So if you had, oh, that makes it worse. I'm pretty sure you can see that I've now got a stripe just across here. All right, so if I took this to a potluck with something in it, could I tell it was mine? I'll say, yes, mine's just got a little stripe in the corner. All right. Now, I would put anything that I have etched, because it's glass, I would also, you notice I'm always doing it on the outside. I don't want it on the inside where, because it's taking away a thin layer of the glass, if you like. So I don't want food getting into the little pores there. Does that make sense? So what I will do is tonight, anything that I've etched will go through my dishwasher on a sanitation type thing. Can you see that just using the painter's tape, I hope you can see that, gave me a perfectly straight line. I actually didn't expect that to happen, considering I eyeballed it. So difficult, people. And I don't have great hopes for this, but who knows? Maybe it will work. One thing I do know, it will have worked enough for me to be able to identify the dish, which is what I wanted to do. So, is it something that you think you could do? And the whole point about it is, can you see that it's not nearly as scary as you probably thought it was? Wearing gloves protects my hands. I found when I when I etched presents for people, you know, I had a stencil and I really put a thick layer on. I'm not sure if this is thick enough. Alexa, stop. And here we go. Let's see how we did. Again, this is one for, we wanted to be able to identify that it's mine and not somebody else's. Now, the little bit there that you see that isn't etched is because I didn't press it down completely flat. Hope you can see that it worked. Where's the best place? Against what? Can you see the heart? So again, could I now take this anywhere and know I could find my own again? Yes. Yeah. Really cool gift. And let me tell you what I found is everybody that I've given one to as a wedding present has written back and not only thanked me for the gift, but for the obvious time and effort I took to personalize it. You see, it was like, yeah, and I just like to work on the principle that if they've got 3 of these and one of them is personalized, I'm pretty sure from what I know is it's the fact that it's personalized that changes the gift. So how would you personalize it? As I said, I tried to write on mine something really unique. And I want to tell you, I can remember the one that I did, cooking up love. When I did that one, I know that the person who received it said she picked it up and went, "Oh, I've never seen one where it's got writing on it like this." And she loved, the what I said. But the interesting thing was that she said when she realized I'd actually done it myself, that really changed the value of it for her. So a really neat way to upmarket a dollar store item. And you can buy Pyrex dishes at the dollar store for next to nothing. And they are Pyrex. Don't know how they do it at that price. But that's what this is. I think I bought this one at a dollar store. And that's why I wanted to just etch something on it. And so there you can see, I can identify that it's mine. As I said, I didn't really love this one, but I think what I would do is not worry about it. Does it still function as a votive holder? Let's see. Thought I had a proper votive, but let's just drop a candle in there. Tea light, just to see what it looks like. And want to give it a dark background. Okay, let's put something dark behind it. No, that doesn't help. But it would still have the right effect, right? Even just like this. All right. And as you said, Jody, snowflakes on here for Christmas. Wouldn't that be pretty? And that's actually what I'm thinking of doing this Christmas as a present for people, is to actually do some of these, buy the little votives to go inside and then personalize them. And what I thought would happen and did is, you got runoff. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see I got a bit of runoff there? Because I didn't pull it off completely square. So, but that's why we do experiments. So just hold on one second. Imagine this filled up with candy or something, all right? I paid $1.50 for this. And if I personalized it with etching and fill it up with something like, what do you call them? Jelly beans or something, it turns it into one heck of a gift. For those of you who are culinary people, what if you filled it up in layers of stuff you would need for a vegetable soup? All right, so you've seen little packets of that. Again, oh yeah, look at this one. I love this one. I always keep a couple of them handy so that within an hour I can etch them and wrap them and be gone. This, as I said, this one cost me $1.50 at the dollar store as well. What I know is I can turn this into a really pretty present for somebody that is personalized. I would do it on my machine, which is why I got my machine, of course. So how many of you found that easier than you thought it would be? Yeah, Jody's saying nice glassware. I go to the dollar store to buy things that don't look like they're dollar store things. All right. I think that's a really pretty container. And I could, put flowers in there. I could put, all sorts of things in there. All right. For those of you who like potpourri, maybe you could fill it up with potpourri for somebody who's just moved into a new house or something. All right. And then, really nice ribbons around the whole thing. I think it'd make a really nice gift. So let's get creative. What else could you fill this with? Right. Jody's saying it's easier than I thought. I'm not intimidated after seeing the experiment. So, but remember, wear your gloves, protect your worktop, and I get mine small enough that I know once I've done it, I can get it over to the running water. And I don't know if you noticed, but you probably did from my back view, not my best. But I was very gently rubbed the etching stuff off it. If you've got a very thick layer, which I recommend, you can take a piece of cardboard and just take off the most of it and put it back in the bottle. If you buy a small amount of etching cream, you can sort of reuse it. So pretty simple, right? And now I'm just going to put that in the wash. And I want to do this just so you can see. Perfectly clean, no etching on it. It's pretty wet. Just washed off the etching cream, back to normal. Could reuse it. So Jody, if you found a snowflake dabber, right, just to let you know, they cleaned up beautifully. I personally prefer the stencil. So if you, and I'm pretty sure that you can get stencils. In fact, Jody, if you can't find the snowflake ones that you want, let me know. And I will, I can cut them out for you. And you can reuse them. My machine is called a Silhouette Cameo 3, I think. Now that's an investment, right? That's an expensive item. I don't know how much they are today, and I would obviously buy the most modern one today. But I haven't, I find it very. If you're a crafty person and like to hand make things, it really is a workhorse for me. It is amazing how many things, I make cards on it, personalized cards, obviously. I just sent a personalized card down to Isabella. I'd show you the card, but Judy hasn't seen it yet, so I don't think that's right. I'll wait until she tells me that she's received it, and then I'll show you how I personalize it. You'd fill yours up with lights. That's a really good idea. That's a really good idea for Christmas, right? What if you, did snowflakes and things, but filled it up with, do you want to hold on a second so we can do an experiment with that? Hold on a second. I'll probably be a couple of minutes because I got to unwind something, but let's try it. Good idea, Kimmy. All right, I'm just going to put those in like that so you can see the effect. Okay, see it? I don't know if you can see that the lights are on. So you could do, buy a long, oh, right. But you get the idea. You could fill it with Christmas lights. All right, so thanks, Jody. Jody's saying that the Silhouette Cameo 4 is about $310 in American on Amazon at the moment. And because it's the older model, you probably could pick one up, as Jody says, at a craft store, one that they're trying to get rid of for less. I personally, well, I think you all know, I really enjoy mine, but I bought it as a lifelong thing, right? I understand that all the time they're upgrading it. They've upgraded it now so that you can actually cut cork with it. I can cut thin cork with mine. But, you can actually cut through thin stainless steel and all sorts of stuff. They've got different ones now that are really depending on what you want to do. But if you're a basic crafter, it's just like, think about, it's like all things, all right? I thought about what did I want mine for? I wanted it to make cards, but also know that personalizing takes time. So if you don't have a lot of patience, don't get one of these machines, all right? It's a big learning curve. And also, you have to be prepared to fail a lot. And I've always said, why go out and buy a $5 card when I can spend $100 worth of time making it personal? Again, think about that. When you personalize stuff, it takes extra time. So imagine I'd need to go to my machine, cut out the stencil that I want. First of all, design it, then cut it out. But then once I've cut that stencil out, I've got it for a long time. And that's something that you can think about, right? So could I cut something out of masking tape? Yes. And then when I'd finished with it, because the masking tape came off pretty well, I could now stick this, just turn the corners down so I could get it off easily. Right? Did you see how I did that? I just turned the corner there over, which means when it's stuck onto something now, let's pretend that I've got a monogram or something on there. I can now, after I've done it and cleaned it, I can now pull this off. Remember, this got wet. And then all I would do is I would stick it on something, piece of plastic in my craft room, knowing that I could then repeat that if I wanted to. All right. And one of the things I've learned, just hold on a second here, Jody. What I will do is I will put up the link to the one that I've got, but I cut this out, for example, all right? And I normally have a couple like this cut out because you never know when somebody's going to be sick, all right? And I thought I'd show you another couple of things that I've done with it. Some of my friends got this Christmas card from me, and I don't mind telling you, it stood up on its own. It was really pretty. It took a long time to do that. Cut all the individual pieces out. This is a double layer. To cut all this out, and then I would say each card took me about 3 hours, but I was so glad I did it. Some of my friends. Okay, this is just, I turned this into a window picture. I blew it up until it was about this size, in different bits that I stuck together. And I had this in my window flat on I've got big bay windows. On 2 of my bay windows, this is what you saw as you came up the driveway, was a picture like this. I actually did the white version. But I want you to see how much work there was getting those little bits out. And how many did I not get it right? A few. But I got a lot right, so I was happy. I don't know if I showed you this, but for Christmas this year, I sent a wreath down to the Travis family, and each of the girls had a little box with a present in it. Don't know if you can see that. So I made the boxes with the machine and cut out their initials. All right, that was Mia, Kira, Juliana, and Leah had just been born. So just very, I'm glad I did it. What else have I got here for you? Anything? Oops. This was a design that I came up with as a card, but it was also something I could hang on somebody's door. All right. Because I got a lot of neighbors. But then that's how it started. Yeah, and I sort of thought that's really cute. I can just hang it on their door. But then I got more creative, of course. And I asked myself, oh, then I liked it better this way. So this one, okay, was with the back, and I did this with silver and some with gold. Oops. I'll tidy this up later. And then I asked myself, which is what creativity is all about, wouldn't it be nice if I made it into a little pocket that I could throw some Christmas candy in? And so what I did was I took that basic design that I made, and then I cut out a gusset I could put in the bottom here, and another gusset that I could put on the side. Don't know if you can see that. All right. But that was a lot of design work. It probably took me at least 8 hours to get that design, one day of playing around with it to get the design right. But I ended up with something that I can use, time and time again at Christmas time. So those are the sort of things that I do. But again, when you do something like that, anybody, I think almost everybody that got a Christmas card from me this year, that was a special one, they all knew by looking at it that it had taken a long time. And I want to tell you that this one here, I would cut it out during the day. This is just a bit of it because I want to show you. Cut it out during the day, and then while I was watching television at night, I'd poke all those little bits out. And you can imagine what my living room looked like after I'd been cutting out all those little bits. And occasionally when I was doing that, did I accidentally rip the card? Yes. So I started all over again. But did everybody remark on them? Did everybody say they are so pretty? I think, when you do something like that, that's why I'm already looking for the Christmas card I want to make and send this year. All right, I'm already looking for it. I've ordered up a couple of things. But, I will play with a couple, see what they're like. I found that one with the 3 wise men took me probably about 6 goes before I really could do it and know that I was confident doing it. And then I started to print the cards. Jody's saying the handmade holiday cards you've sent have been framed to use as wall decorations this Christmas. We cherish them. Thank you. Jody, I think I got one of, not a good one, but one of the test ones. Hang on a second. I thought that was going to be easier than it was, but I can't find it. But I will find it and show you. But to me, you know, and then I have little stickers, say, handmade with love, that I put on them, so people know that it wasn't a store-bought one. I wanted to show you, you all know that I'm an artist as well. So one of the things I do, perhaps this is not the best one to show it with, but what I do is I make cards and then put my artwork, slip my artwork in behind them, so that people, you know, and I make it into a 5x7, so that people can keep this and frame it if they want to. Does that make sense? So as you can see, here, I would put this, and then I'd have a note inside that says, if you like the picture, just pull it out of the card, because I make the card with a frame so that you can, hang on. Yeah. So if you can imagine, that works like that. I just don't want to bend this too much. But if you can imagine that the card can be like this, all right? This is a smaller one, but I would make it so if you wanted to take that out and put it in a picture frame, you could, all right, if you liked it. So the ones that Jody is talking about, and I will find one, what I did was I had a background of either blue or silver glitter. Hear me on this one. And then I had a picture on top of that. All right. I think you got the one with the deer. You wanted the deer one, didn't you? Can't remember what I sent you the first year, but anyway. Maybe the Christmas trees. I don't know. But again, that's, people know that they can save them. A lot of people said to me, hold on a second. Yeah, a lot of people who got this one, or both of these, in fact, people told me they kept the card. They kept the card to use as decorations for next year as well. So to me, it is like, I tried to think of something that will go past just the 1 year. Yeah, that's right. I did send you the trees the first year, right? And the deer are for the following one, right? And so now I've got to get creative and find something else that I think is really cute. if you have any, I don't know if you like the house one, but if you like the house one, I will gladly make you one to go to with your collection. Just let me know well ahead of time, because it takes a lot of time. Right, now then. So do we agree that etching is not that difficult? I'm now going to do the demonstration. I just want to get all this out of the way. All right, I need to just tidy up because I've got something big coming onto here. Now, if you remember that this doesn't etch plastic, just in case it falls over somewhere, I'm inclined to put it into a plastic bag so that that I store it standing upright, but just in case that happens. Okay, I think I can now move the whole of this. I don't know about you, but I really thought that was a very simple, easy way to identify your own. You could make it into a little cross or make it into a little star just with tape. And as I said, I always put mine through the dishwasher once before I wrap it. Okay? This is going to be fun. All right, for those of you who wanted to see it done, this is my queen size duvet, okay, which I managed to fold up and put inside this bag. I decided to do that before the broadcast because just getting into the bag is a major problem. I've also put in a couple of dryer sheets just so that keeps it fresh in there. And now what we thought we would try. Hang on a second. What I want to do is get some tape ready in case it works. Now, you notice I say in case it works. As you know, all these experiments are capable of failing. I'm going to take the end off my vacuum. For those of you who saw me demonstrate this a couple of weeks ago, it's either as a stand-up vacuum or it becomes a dust buster. Wonderful thing. All right, so now what I'm going to do is wrap it around. Oh, before I do that, people, at the moment, it is about a foot high. All right, just so that you know. I want to see what we can get it down to. So what I'm going to do is to put it there, and I'm going to tie this around the end of my vacuum, if I can. Good. So now I'm down to a hole that's this big. Can you see that? But I'm spreading my hand out about this big. But I would like it to be even smaller. So what I'm going to do is tape it. Okay, and now, are you ready? Oh, yeah. All right, now what it's doing is it's sucking in the plastic bag, so we don't want that. I'm going to push it in a bit more. That makes sense. And now I'm going to put it on turbo, see what happens. Ah, didn't like that. I think it's picking up dust from my duvet. That's so funny. Okay, so this has now got a lot of the air taken out of it. What did I do with it, people? And it came down from 1 foot down to 7 inches, 6.5 inches. So I halved the space it's going to need anywhere. And I'm just going to wrap a bit more of that on there. Okay, so what do you think? And the duvet, when it is normal, is up this high. So it's probably at least 1.5 feet. No, I would say 2 feet when it's just folded, not in a bag. But now it can go under my bed. And on that principle, what I wanted to make sure you all understand is that my number one thing I pack when I am traveling are plastic bags this size or bigger. And what I will do is I will pack tops, in maybe 2 or 3 tops in here, I will seal it up. I'm sure you can imagine this. And then I will press all the air out, whatever it takes, and seal it. And then, well, let me do that with some clothes on it. There. Okay, so this happens to be a night shirt. See if I can seal this bag. And this is I want to tell you, when I worked out how well this worked, you know, you don't have to buy the special ones. All right, so now then, this is my nightshirt. Takes about 3 inches of space when it's like this. I'm now going to push the air out. Seal the bag. And now it takes up 2 inches. All right. So obviously I would fill the bag up with all sorts of things, and then if you're not sure whether you got all the air out, just open it up a little bit. I find this works really well. It's just to roll it up tightly and then seal your bag. You know, I traveled a lot in my day, so you know this, if I'm doing it, it works, right? And so now you can see there's still some air in there, but basically what I do keeps it fresh, yes. And by the way, Jody, another thing, when I've used it, it goes back in there. You know, if I've got to take dirty washing home, you know, I'm on an overnight or weekend trip or something, I will put it back in there to take it home, right? And what I found was I can pack twice as much by doing that. So there's a tip of the day for you. Okay, let's see what else I've got for you, if anything. I am in the process. I do know I've got that on my notes. I am in the process of unpacking my summer stuff. Yesterday, the temperature went up quite significantly. And I went, I think I can do my summer stuff. You probably notice I've got the white trousers out now. And different colors will be coming into show. But it was so funny because I'm going, I can't believe that I did this in June. Normally, this all would come out in May, yeah, at the beginning of May, but that's how cold it has been. And so I don't know how you're doing. I wonder if Kimmy's still with us, because I know she had snow not so long ago. So how about where you live? And Jody, you've had really hot temperatures already, I believe. So, you know, I don't know about you guys, but it's difficult to know what to pack away. But I'm thinking about, you know, it's a good way to pack away, if you don't have a lot of space, good way to pack away your winter clothes because they're bulky. But if you can get the air, oh, you see there's still air in here. That's what I thought. Yeah. I must have a little hole in this bag, I think. Probably been washed about 20 times. Anyway, you know, a good way to put away your winter clothes and get the air out of them, and then they'll take up a lot less room. Yes, Jody says it's been up to 96 already, and then into the 50s the next day. Exactly the problem that I've got here. It was really hot yesterday. Yeah, it was. Right, it's 72 inside today, which would be 22 in Canadian, 72 Fahrenheit. And it was hot enough that I said, I've got to get that air conditioner put together. And, you know, I'm still working on that one. It's a work in progress. But, you know, it needs to come up higher on my to-do list. So be careful, because these, we had that hot weather yesterday, and today we got thunderstorms, which is probably not surprising after the hot weather, but that's what's happened. All right, everybody, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you'd like me to do more of these live demonstrations, as I said, the interesting thing in life is, are you prepared to fail? That's the question. I wasn't overjoyed with this, all right? But in not getting it as I wanted it, I now know what I need to do next time. And what if I had taped this, and I might still do it? What if I taped it into stripes, all right, and then did it again? All right, maybe diagonal stripes would work. We'll see. But you understand what I'm saying? It is possible to do it. And if you're not prepared to fail at anything in your life, the chances are you don't do much with your life. And one of the things that I really want to encourage you to do is to keep learning. Remember that learning new things. Jody, I believe that, are you done with your paperwork? Because I know in my mind that if you're done with your paperwork, it's time for you to play again. Jody's had horrendous paperwork that she needed to do for some insurance thing. But it's like it's time to play again. And I really encourage you all, learn something new. All right, you're going to go back to redoing some masks. And I understand that because you make a really good mask. So you look at it and go, your creativity can have, doesn't have to be a waste. I think a lot of people see doing crafts as a waste of time and money because it doesn't have, a use, except maybe for yourself. But I don't see it that way. All right. I turned some of my artwork, for example. I don't know if you can see that from here. This is always dangerous when I do this. Things fall. Hang on a second. I just want to get... No, you can't see it there. Oh, yes, you can see it there. Can you see there? Those are two of my paintings that I framed, and I stuck them with command strips onto my cupboards. All right. So that and because they're red, silver, and white, so that they match my kitchen at the moment. Oh, there you can see it perfectly, just like that. There they are. Two of them. And they're just stuck on with command strips. So to me, there was just an awful lot of white cupboard, and I wondered whether it would work, and I put it up and it did. Surprise, surprise. So be creative. I am constantly taking my creativity, if I can, up another notch, all right? So whatever I've learned by making a card, what I do is I go, okay, I like that. Next time, how would I like to improve that? So that I do that. So yeah, Jody's saying it looks nice and unique. Yes, that's what I am. Nice and unique. But hey, I felt something quite weird this week. We had the ladies' luncheon, from the local people here. We have this little group of us that go out to lunch. And I found out something that I didn't know, but I do now. That group of people is great talking about superficial subjects. You go into anything serious, anything that requires in-depth thinking, they're not interested. I actually said something, and I didn't realize I'd done it. And literally, one of the ladies looked at me and said, well, why don't we get on to something that's more pleasant than that? And I'm going, wow. I think it had to do with the shootings, possibly. Who on earth sells body armor to a 19-year-old? Yeah. But it was just like that got shut down immediately, and I went, now I've got it. Apparently, as long as I stay superficial and talk about the weather, somebody else's vacation or whatever, that's fine. But go down any depth. Do any of you find that? Have any of you? And I'm an in-depth sort of person, as you know. I want to talk about funny. And one of the discussions that we were talking about was wills. Have you written your will? And one of the ladies hadn't. And I said, are you aware of what happens to your estate if you haven't written a will? And so, that was just a thing. And then again, let's change the subject. No, it's a really important discussion to have, people. Because you don't know whether you're going to be alive tomorrow. So if you haven't written your will, do it. All right. If you haven't got a power of attorney set up, do it. All right. I have 2 powers of attorney that could sell my house from under me tomorrow if they so felt, in a way. But you pick people you can trust not to do that. But the point is this: if anything happens to me and I can't talk, or am I, whatever, they have the power of attorney to turn off machines. They, if something's keeping me alive and I don't want that, they have the power of attorney to be able to make decisions on my behalf. So I picked 2 people that love me to bits and know, what my requirements are. So, I don't think that's a bad subject. I think that's a really important subject. And so I wanted to just ask you, do any of you feel uncomfortable talking about a will? And if so, why? Because to me, the most important thing that you can do in life is to make sure that in the event that, something happens to you tomorrow, that you are making it as easy as possible for those people who love you. No, and Jody, you see, Jody, it doesn't surprise me. Jody's saying, I'm not uncomfortable at all. But Jody, it's one of the reasons why you are my admin. All right? It's one of the reasons that I knew you'd make a good admin, right? Is because you can talk about difficult things. And Jody's saying this is practical, real life stuff. Yeah. So, when you look at it, be careful about the discussions you don't want to have and ask yourself, why don't I want to have them? And I don't know if there's anybody watching that is prepared to tell me why they don't want to talk about wills or, your end of life decisions, whatever it is you want to have. But, I make sure the people that really, really care about me know exactly what to do in the event of my passing suddenly. I mean, I can have a heart attack and not have time to tell them what I want. What I know is that the people who care about me and will be left with the problem will be the people they'll say know exactly what she wanted. She discussed it a lot. All right. And you see, to me, and she has a will. Right. So, you look at it and go, think about this just because it's difficult. Kimmy, I was thinking about you and your pacemaker. And I wondered, are there any things that people should know? And I don't know if Kimmy's still here. If you are still here, Kimmy, please let me know, because I wanted to ask you a question. I realize that I have to find out what the component was in that medication that I had for my blood pressure that I was allergic to, because I realize I need to keep track of that. And I'm very pleased to tell you it'll be 2 weeks on Monday that I started taking the new medication. I coughed yesterday. Like that. That was it. And you understand, I had 4 months of literally bringing up my lungs. Kimmy, I wanted to ask you, is there anything about you being on a pacemaker that people need to know if you're in an emergency? All right. For example, do you have to wear a bracelet that says I'm on a pacemaker? All right. Yes, Jeannie's saying important subject. You see, this is the whole thing. If you have emotional intelligence, it's a good sense of where your emotional intelligence is. And I understand some people get overwhelmed with the thought. All right. But if you can talk about things like this, Jeannie's saying it's an important subject. We already have prepared by prepaying all our funeral expenses. That's very thoughtful. All right. And so, you look at it and go, don't be afraid of these subjects. It is life. And life has good bits to it and not so good. And if you can handle both in the same manner, then you have emotional intelligence. Does that make sense? If you can say, something, I know I'm going to die, so I better make sure this is taken care of. I've got a problem with the shed at the back of my house. It's leaking. And I know I've probably got to put a new roof on it, and it's expensive. And I don't want to spend the money. But on the other hand, if I don't spend the money, I'm going to ruin everything that's inside the shed. No brainer. I'm going to need to do it. So I need to put on my big girl pants and get it done. So it's on my list. Kimmy, is there anything that people need to know? I'm saying this because I don't know whether any of my neighbors has a pacemaker. All right. So if they suddenly, can you do cardiac resuscitation on a person with a pacemaker? Do you know? Because if not, should you have a tattoo here saying, I have a pacemaker? So that when they go to put the pads on, that they can, see it. I'm thinking about things like that. I really never thought about it until I realized that you've got a pacemaker. And I thought, if you were my neighbor, I wouldn't want to know. How many of you know how to use an EpiPen if one of your friends happens to have a serious allergic reaction to something? It was interesting because when I was managing a company, I found that one of my new employees was allergic to peanuts. And I said, are you allergic to the degree that you have an EpiPen in your purse right now? And she said, yes, I am. And I said, good. So what I did is I literally called a staff meeting for the next morning. And I, did it in a big area. And I said, I want you to know Jane here has a peanut allergy. So number one thing, nobody bring in anything to eat in the company that has peanuts. And that would be careful of things like pastries, because you'll be amazed how many times they put a couple of nuts on top of pastries. And I said, so that's the first thing we all need to do, because we don't want cross-contamination of peanut stuff. The second thing is, I am now going to get Jane to tell us all what to do with an EpiPen if she accidentally comes into contact, maybe through a client or something like that. What will happen and what we need to do. First of all, Jane, where is your EpiPen? She said, in my purse. And I said, please take it out so we know what it looks like. When we go, under stress, we're going to, not be thinking clearly enough. We need to know what it looks like. What are we looking for? And she pulled out the pouch that it was in. And quite honestly, it didn't look like it was an EpiPen. So I'm glad that we did that. I said, all right, everybody's got the visual now. We know what we're looking for. So now take it out and tell us what you would do. First of all, if you are capable of doing it, how would you do it, right? And she showed us exactly. She'd take the top off and she'd do this, and she'd plunge it into her thigh, and then whatever. Yeah, Jeannie's saying, I have one in my pocketbook every single day. So the interesting thing was, I then said to the staff, important point, how many of you would be capable of doing that, would take the risk of doing that if Jane couldn't do it for herself? And I knew not everybody would say yes. All right. Not everybody would say yes. So about, I would think as much as half of the staff said they would consider it. So I said, good. Rest of you, you know what you're doing. In an emergency, you know what to do in case one of the others of us are not there. And then the rest of you, if you want to go, that's fine. We're not going to talk about it a bit more. All right. Kimmy's saying, I have a card with that information about the pacemaker. I have one for medical people, one for meds and another with diabetic information. All right. And I have one with all my doctor's names. Yes. Do you all have ICE in your contact list on your phone? Right. I don't know if you know about this, but it is a universal thing. ICE is in case of emergency. Right. And that's what I wondered. So everybody, I need you to know, if you know a friend of yours has got a pacemaker, they can't use a defibrillator on defibrillator. That's not easy for me to say. All my teeth get in the way. They can't use, that's what I wondered, Kimmy. So that is very, very important to know. Yes, Jeannie's saying when I taught school, the school nurse knew that I was aware of that and had an EpiPen. Yes, I want to tell you something. It is responsible to teach people how to save your life. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying a lot of people around me, I'm pretty sure at least one or two of them have probably got a pacemaker, but I don't know who. So therefore, in an emergency, if the emergency people came and they were non-responsive, I wouldn't be able to tell them don't use a pacemaker, don't use a defibrillator because they've got a pacemaker. Think about that, all right? So I think it should be, Kimmy, it should be somewhere else. It should be on a bracelet or on a necklace that you wear where the back of it says diabetic, pacemaker. What was the other thing you said? Oh, and the meds are in your wallet, right? The list of meds are in your wallet. Right. Jeannie's saying the first time I asked my husband, he was too scared to do it, so I did it for myself. What if you hadn't been able to? See, that's her. Good. Well done, Kimmy. Kimmy's now saying, I'm going to make my own pacemaker bracelet. Pacemaker and diabetic. All right. Now, the interesting thing with me is I think you all know that I am what I believe is called pre-diabetic. I am a diabetic that has controlled their diabetes by diet. So what that means is, I'm not insulin dependent or anything else like that, as long as I eat sensible meals, all right, and I don't go overboard. I did this week, everybody. If I don't go overboard too much, I'm keep in the right range, a little higher than most people, but I'm in the range, the top end of the right range. So what happened to me this week, and it's never happened before, I went to a restaurant where I started off with a salad without any dressing because I knew that would be safe. But after that, there wasn't a single option that I could have that didn't have garlic in it. And so what I did was I said, bring me 2 bread rolls and some plain butter without garlic in it. And then I had a brainwave and I said, do they make the fries here or are they pre-made and pre-seasoned? And she said, they are pre-made, but they're not pre-seasoned. And I said, good, have your chef make me up some fries without any garlic seasoning on them. All right, just plain fries. And so I ended up, my meal was a bowl of salad, 2 bread rolls, and a very nice sized plate of fries. And the most incredible thing was I was really quite scared to take my blood glucose, but my blood glucose has been just fine. If anything, it dropped. So So that's really important. Now, the reason I don't wear an identifier on this one is if I ended up in a hospital, I'm going to have a proper diet anyway. That's the way that I look at it. You know, the hospital is not going to feed me Mars bars and lemon meringue pie. And if they do, it'll be a very small amount. So I don't need to be wearing a bracelet that says, hey, I'm, pre-diabetic. You understand? There's a difference in this. Think about it. If I were, you know, that's how I look at it. Would they need, if they fed me sugar by accident, would I be in serious trouble? No, my blood sugars would go up, but I wouldn't be in serious trouble. And by the time, if I was incapacitated in ICU and in a coma, there'd be people that are my power of attorneys and stuff saying, hey, just want to warn you, keep an eye on her blood sugar because she's pre-diabetic. So whatever they're feeding into me, I don't think that's loaded with sugar either. But anyway, just a thought. So a good thing to be able to talk about. Interesting. Kimmy's saying it says on the internet that you can. There are a lot of things on the internet that aren't true, Kimmy. We know that, right? So here's what I would do. The next time you go have a chat with your doctor, however you do that, say, I've got conflicting information here. I've heard when they put this in that I wasn't to have a defibrillator, so therefore should I be wearing something to say that? But on the other hand, I've also, did you look that up on something like the Mayo Clinic, or did you just look it up somewhere else? The reason I say this is that I think you all know also that I have been on a CPAP machine, but I had to stop using it because I was choking so much at night. And then my body would wake me up because I was choking. But then I had a mask on that then delayed my being able to get breath even longer because I was not breathing properly. And I had to stop using my CPAP machine, but now I probably can go back to using it if I want to. Yes, isn't it interesting, Jeannie? Jeannie, I could have had more salad, right? There were, I could have had a Cobb salad or something. But, I didn't feel like that. I was out. I wanted something that I don't normally have. So I decided 2 bread rolls and some fries would be a useful alternative. All the meat was pre-bought, pre-seasoned. So, everything that I queried was, I think the salmon didn't have it. I don't like fish that much. I have it occasionally, but I don't like it. So, difficult. The same thing, when I sat down to eat, I reminded everybody that I'm getting over an allergy to a medication that causes me to choke. So if I start choking, I said to the person next to me, but I made sure everybody else heard, I need you to ask me, are you choking on food? And watch for my reaction. Because if I go like this, it means it's the normal choking I have from the allergy. If I go, yes, get somebody to give me a Heimlich. That's where they make you cause the air to go up so that you can get rid of some food that's stuck. So again, important discussions. People don't like talking about things like that. My God, what a way to start a meal where you're telling us that what to do if you start choking. I said, yeah, I could save my life. And so the other person said, if you're choking from the allergy, what helps? And I said, drinking helps, but it doesn't stop it. But it does tell you if I can drink, it tells you that my airway is open, and I've got enough there. And the other thing is that there's any way you can get hold of a teaspoon of honey, raw honey, that helps me. Not a lot, but it helps me. So, it was like, I thought that was the right thing to do, is make sure they knew. Because what if I hadn't told them? I don't know. Anyway, hope you enjoyed today's broadcast. I did. Tonight, we're going to be making some stuffed chicken. And also, we're going to be making some rhubarb raspberry tarts. Now, you can make this into a pie if you've got a family, but me, I have my little tartlets where I make my stuff. And what I want to show you is a healthier version of that. And I hope that you enjoy that. I look forward to seeing it then. This is Dear Mama Sal saying thank you so much, Jody, for all the support on this, and also to Jeannie and everybody else. Thank you for being here. Hope that you learned something today. This is Dear Mama Sal saying love you dearly, and we'll see you at 7 o'clock Pacific tonight for the cook-up. Bye for now.